This is Talk Sarasota. My name is Sherman Baldwin. Joe Gruters joins us. Yes, sir, head of the Republican Party of Sarasota. Hey, Joe, while I got you on the phone, you know what? Hi, Joe, by the way. You there?
Sherman.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Now, listen, I got to ask you a question.
Okay.
This is bizarre to me. I mean, I'm relatively new to Florida, although 3 of my kids were born here, so it's not like I'm not, accustomed to Florida. But is it really true that Jeff Green's best man at his wedding was Mike Tyson?
It's true.
That is,
and it's one of the crazy circus our political process is in this cycle. Here you have a guy who is, some say maybe worth $1 billion, running for the Senate, hangs out with people like Lindsay Lohan. Mike Tyson was his best man. They have sex and drug parties on his yacht, cruising all around the world. It seems like it's a high-flying lifestyle for some of these billionaires, but the problem is he's obviously out of touch with reality, and if he's the Democrats' nominee, we could only hope because Marco Rubio is going to pound him.
Yeah, this is bizarre to me, though. It really is. I could not. I had to. I didn't believe it until I read. I researched it and I found 6 separate articles saying it because I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Listen, I didn't want to digress on that. How's the Republican Party doing? How are we looking for November? I know we've got big Tuesday primaries, and this is there's some bloodletting going on in these primary elections, to say the least.
And it's unfortunate that a lot of these candidates aren't following Reagan's 11th commandment by not attacking their fellow Republicans.
Yeah.
But it's in every cycle it seems to get a little bit worse. With the amount of money that's being spent, it's no different, and it's actually, I don't know how it could have gotten any worse from 2 years ago, but it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
And as a result, I think our party's going to come out of this primary wounded, and we're going to have to. It's going to be a struggle, but we're going to have to do everything we can to try to bring people back together and get them to focus on, why, even though if they're candidate that they voted for in the primary didn't win, why it's important to support the eventual winner, because there may be a couple of differences here and there between the different primary opponents, but the difference between us and the other team is night and day.
All right. Now, is the Republican Party of Sarasota endorsing any specific Republican candidates for the?
We've endorsed all candidates that are running against Democrats or no party affiliation candidates. But actually, in the primary, in the August 24th election on Tuesday, there's no races where we have a single Republican versus a single Democrat. So, no.
Right. Okay. So you keep it out of it. Now, always fascinating, again, in my observation from an outsider's point of view with politics is that because Governor Charlie Crist went independent, that he's not part of what's going on now. And Florida has had him part of it for a long time.
No, yeah, we essentially, once he quit the party, we, excommunicated him, I guess you could say, and essentially burned everything that ever had to do with him. And for me, I've always, I campaigned for Charlie when he ran for Attorney General. I campaigned for him when he ran for governor the first time as a Republican, as did probably 95% of the Republicans.
Yep.
And I was just sick to my stomach when all this went down. I thought he should have stayed Republican. But the bottom line is he abandoned the party. We didn't leave him. He left us. And he left us for political expediency and for self-preservation, and that's wrong.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he's running as independent. But now I look at him as our number one enemy, and we're going to take him out just like we're going to take out whoever wins on the Democratic side.
And interestingly, the only thing we have heard from Governor Charlie Crist is that he came out in favor of the Ground Zero Mosque.
Yeah, he'll do anything to get a vote, and it's and I'm surprised at that position, but I have no idea what he's thinking.
Now, regardless, if it's Rick Scott going into the general election, he's going to continue to have to deal with some of the Columbia Healthcare scandal. If it's Bill McCollum, he's going to still have to deal with this kind of throw the bums out incumbency, long timer politician. Both of those situations, how do you overcome those two?
Well, I'll tell you the advantages of both candidates, and I think both candidates are excellent candidates. I like them both. Bill McCollum's great because his record of service throughout the years, and he has a record of being a consistent conservative. And what you'll get from Bill McCollum is the same thing you've seen for the last 20 years. I mean, he's I guess you could say, lived the part. I mean, he's gone through the ranks of the party, and he's made a career out of it, and he's done, everybody's, likes him. He's a nice guy, and he'll be, and what I could say about Bill McCollum is he'll always side on the conservative side. We'll never have to worry about him doing, he's not a flashy guy. He's just a get the job done type of guy.
Yep.
Now, the benefits of Scott is he's definitely a conservative outsider. He's a businessman, not a politician, coming out of nowhere. And, and I think that resonates with people, when you have an unemployment rate of 10%. This guy's created tens of thousands of jobs. And at the end of the day, the big plus for him is the guy's lived the American dream.
Yep.
And I think that he can continue to try to preach that, I don't think we've ever had a governor that's owned a manufacturing company, and I think he owns 3.
Right.
And I think that his background as a successful businessman, and I think is his strengths. And in terms of both their negatives, like I said, it's unfortunate that they both have them. But what I like to tell people, and I've run several congressional campaigns, including Congressman Buchanan's, and what I'll tell you is the goal when you do these TV ads and mailers is the whole goal is to distort the image of your opponent to make people think that he's a bum and trash, and you try to distort your own image to make people love you.
Right.
And so what I tell people and my friends and anybody that will listen to me is I say any negative ad you see, toss it out the window because it's BS. It's usually a stretch of the truth, and you can make anybody look like the devil. And certainly, McCollum has his faults and Scott has his faults, but both of their faults are not nearly to the extent of what's being portrayed on TV. It's a lot of mumbo-jumbo to try to confuse the voters, and unfortunately, it's effective, and it's done damage to both. But if it was up to me, I'd ban all negative ads and, get rid of them completely because they're all they're doing is trying to trick people.
Right. Now, I won't be so bold as to ask you to give us a guess on who's going to win the Republican primary for governor, but I will ask you on the Democratic side.
Well, I will say on the Republican side, I really do think it's a complete toss-up. And I've been, and I talk to Scott guys, campaigners, and they say, oh, yeah, we're winning. And I talk to McCollum campaign staffers, oh, yeah, we're going to win. And so I'm thinking to myself, I say, well, somebody's not telling the truth.
Right.
And then you see the various polls that come out and, the 10-point swings. And I don't have a lot of, I have a great deal of faith in polling because if you have an accurate polling firm, they know exactly what's going on. And both campaigns know exactly what's going on from the standpoint of they're probably doing what they call daily tracking, which means they get numbers updated every morning. So they can say exactly how many people have voted. And then they can say, based on those numbers, based on how many people have early voted, have turned in their absentee ballots, they know exactly where they're at. And that's why when you see these last-minute ads and these last-minute attacks...
Right, they're tweaking. They're tweaking their message.
And the fact that both campaigns are being so aggressive, it means that it can go either way. I mean, it's going to be... I would think a 52-48, 49-51 race in either direction. It's gonna, I have no idea who will come out on top, but it will be close. In terms of the Democratic side,
that's where I'm going now. Yeah.
Of course, Sink is a sure bet for governor.
Yep.
And on the Senate side, Senate race, whether it's going to be Green or Meek.
The big boys have come out for Meek, just, with Obama and Clinton and, all of that.
I just don't know how many, I don't know if either one of them is really motivating their base.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of races. What you'll end up seeing is races where there's Democratic congressional primaries around the state and tough county commission races. whoever, and this is an obvious thing to say, but in those counties, like if there's more competitive local races down in Miami-Dade and the southeast coast of Florida, Kendrick Mink's going to win.
Yep.
And maybe other parts of the state, it might be advantage green. But it's if I had to take a guess today, I'm going to say, I'll say Meek pulls out a squeaker. I'll say that will be close too, but I'll say it's 53-47.
Now, I'm gonna interject something here. I'm gonna say that that's a self-serving claim by the Republicans, and hear me out. I don't mean this negatively, but I think we'd much rather go up against a Meek. He's much easier to tear apart as a spend and tax Democrat than I think Jeff Green.
Well, it depends, and again, you never really know what's going to happen, but Jeff Green, he could spend $100 million. If Jeff Green spent $100 million, he's going to be our next U.S. Senator.
Kind of a Corazine thing.
It's tough to compete when somebody if he has $1 billion, I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Now, I may be overreaching with that because I don't think, the better Jeff Green or me does, the worse that Chris does. Mm-hmm. And the better Rubio does.
Yep.
So regardless, I want the Democrats to be strong. I want them to come out to be able to fight a tough campaign.
Right. And then eat their own.
Yeah, that's right. Because they're going to eat each other up because Chris is pulling Democrat votes. He's not pulling the Republican votes.
That's right.
I think the Republicans will come together and will unite behind Rubio. And at the end of the day, I say Rubio wins by 5 points.
Is this potential credit card scandal going to dog Rubio at all? I mean, to me, I think it's kind of small potatoes, but these things have a chance of kind of rearing their ugly head a little bit.
Well, what you have to remember is every negative ad, just like I said before, when you're in a competitive race, especially a state or federal race, you're going to see all types of distortions. And so what they're going to do is you could take your lunch lady at the school or the Bible class at the Wednesday night church.
Right.
Take that person, run them for office, and I guarantee you that they could find something. It doesn't have to be big.
Right.
You could say one thing in one campaign statement, like, for example, I ran in a campaign where we were running against a Democrat and. So the fact that we're running against a Democrat, there's nothing else to attack. You just attack the party.
Yeah.
If she wins, she's going to be voting for whoever, Pelosi for Speaker, and that means illegal immigrants are going to be getting millions of dollars.
Yeah. Well,
see how you can keep on making those assumptions over and over, and that's why the negative ads are bad. They're misleading, and they're distortions of the truth.
And unfortunately, effective though in some people's
very effective.
Yeah. Now, listen, we're going to take a break. By the way, why I never ran for political office, I have real skeletons in my closet, not these fictitious ones. So.
Well, that's good.
Hey, Joe Gruters, head of the Republican Party of Sarasota. Can you stick around for
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with more, including traffic and weather together, right after these messages. This is Talk Sarasota on the talk station, WTMY AM 1280. By the way, and Joe, you may not even know this, but House Minority Leader John Boehner on the show tomorrow. That's on Talk Sarasota tomorrow. Stick around.
Well, it has.